Let's talk about one of the biggest celebrity divorce cases. Achraf Hakimi scored in the Champions League final last year. Right now, he is at the World Cup. And in between those two moments, his divorce case broke the internet.
Achraf Hakimi, who has been very smart with his money,
The Achraf Hakimi and Hiba Abouk divorce saga.
In 2023, his wife Hiba Abouk walked into a French court expecting half the assets of a man worth $70 million. The court looked at the financials and told her he has nothing in his name. The internet lost its mind. They called it genius. They made memes. Hakimi's fans spammed Hiba's social media with hate. But here's what nobody told you. A law professor at the Sorbonne came out and said, the move everybody was celebrating? Legally impossible. Could not have happened. Not in France, not in Spain, not in Morocco. So what actually happened? The real story, the documented version, is something nobody covered. And it is more complicated than anything the internet told you. Stay with me, because this is not just another celebrity scandal. This one is different. Let me introduce you to the two people at the center of this. Achraf Hakimi, Moroccan professional footballer, captain of the national team, born 1998. At the time of his divorce, 24 years old, earning $260,000 every single week. Estimated net worth, $70 million. And Hiba Abouk, Spanish-Tunisian actress and model, 12 years older than him, accomplished, publicly celebrated as his partner. They married in February 2020, two sons, Amin and Naeem, born within a year of each other. From the outside, the picture was perfect. Well, most divorces look that way before they happen. Then came the 2022 World Cup. Morocco beat Spain on penalties. Hakimi scored the decisive kick, and when it was over, he did not run to the cameras. He did not look for his teammates. He ran to his mother, Saida. She was in the stands. He crashed into her arms. The image went around the world. Tens of millions of views. Every sports outlet on the planet ran it. He posted it on Instagram himself. I love you, Mom. It was called one of the most beautiful moments of the tournament. 13 months later, that same image would become the center of a completely different story. In March 2023, Abouk posted on Instagram. The relationship was over. A separation announcement. No details, just the end. What the public did not know was that 2 weeks before that post, on February 25, 2023, a 24-year-old woman had traveled to Hakimi's home in a suburb of Paris. His wife and children were in Dubai at the time. That woman reported an incident to police. On March 3, 2023, French prosecutors at the Nanterre courthouse formally opened an investigation. Hakimi was placed under judicial supervision, prohibited from contacting the woman involved. The divorce was not a coincidence. The timeline connects directly. But here is where the story takes a turn that nobody followed. Where was the money? Abouk went into court expecting a settlement from a man worth $70 million. The court looked at his declared financials. No registered assets in his name, no property, nothing officially on record to divide. She walked away from the initial settlement bid, and the internet, watching from the sidelines, decided they already knew exactly what had happened. He put it all in his mother's name, the woman from the World Cup photo. And because of that, his wife got nothing. The memes followed within hours. What happened next is what this video is actually about.
Okay, if you don't know, a Moroccan football player, soccer player, he's going through a divorce and the wife is asking for half of his fortune, goes to court, and then she's informed by the court that he owns nothing. This is a man getting paid 1 million euros per month by Paris Saint-Germain, a huge, huge soccer team. So what did this guy do? He actually been putting his money and property and anything he's been buying under his mother's name.
Hakimi were to be your brother or you were to be his sister, would you agree for him to give 50% of his wealth to his wife as divorce settlement? I need your genuine opinion.
The story the internet told was clean, simple, satisfying in a dark way. Rich man sees divorce coming. Rich man calls his mother. Rich man transfers everything into her name. Wife shows up to court. Court says he has nothing. Wife leaves with nothing. Man keeps everything. The end. Except that is not how French law works. Under French marital property law, the default system for married couples, every asset either spouse acquires during the marriage is jointly owned, automatically, regardless of whose name is on the account. Here is what that actually means. It does not matter whose name is on the property. If it was bought while you were married, it belongs to both of you. So the idea that Hakimi quietly signed his Paris property and his accounts over to his mother, and that this would hold up in a French divorce court, that was not clever. That was illegal. Omar El Adlouni, a professor at the Sorbonne, laid it out clearly in a post that circulated in legal circles but never went viral. He confirmed, transferring marital assets to a third party after a divorce filing carries a criminal penalty under French law, up to 5 years in prison and €75,000 fine. This kind of transfer would not be legally possible before the marriage ended either, not without the wife knowing, not without her consent. The genius move was a myth. So, if the transfer never happened, how did she walk out of that initial hearing with nothing declared? Here is what actually happened, and this is the part nobody covered. The initial court hearing told Abouk he had no declared assets. That was not a final ruling. That was a disclosure finding, a snapshot, not the whole picture. The system assumed good faith disclosure. The gap, the structural gap, is the lag between what a spouse declares and what actually exists. Abouk did not accept the initial picture. She filed a second lawsuit, separately, a civil action for fraud and mismanagement of marital assets, not the divorce proceeding, a separate legal case, alleging that the financial structure of their marriage was deliberately opaque, that she had never been given full visibility into what he actually owned. She requested $10 million in settlement. His lawyers reportedly countered with $2.2 million. In her own words, she said, "I left the house with one hand in front and one hand behind, without family support." She was describing leaving a relationship, 2 young children, no confirmed settlement, no clarity on the assets, a fraud lawsuit still pending. And then Hakimi's mother spoke, Saida, the woman from the World Cup photo. She gave a public statement. She said, "What is the problem if the news is true? If my son does not do this, he will not be able to get rid of that woman." Read that carefully. She did not deny the story. She questioned why anyone would see it as a problem. The internet heard confirmation. Legal experts heard something far more complicated. Because if the transfer had actually happened the way the viral story claimed, her son would have been committing a criminal act, with her as a named participant. That quote has never been revisited. It has never been answered. Here is where the story lands today, right now, as you are watching this. 3 months before the World Cup that Hakimi is currently playing in, a French judge formally ordered him to stand trial for the serious legal proceedings that began in 2023 at the Nanterre courthouse. Hakimi posted a statement on X denying everything. The legal proceedings are real. The criminal case is real, and it is running concurrently with a World Cup he is preparing to captain his country through. Nobody has publicly confirmed how it resolved. Nobody knows what she actually received. The legal outcome has never been confirmed by either party. Right now, Hiba is more focused in her career and her children, enjoying the life with positivity and good faith. Researchers pulled the numbers on divorce and hidden assets internationally. 1 in 4 people who went through a divorce admitted their ex never saw the full financial picture. Men were twice as likely to be the ones doing the concealing. But hear this, the system has the tools. The gap is always disclosure. The gap is always the lag between what is declared and what exists. Abouk knew that. That is why she filed a fraud lawsuit. Whether it worked, nobody outside that courtroom knows. If you are watching this because you have been through a divorce and you never understood where the money went, I want you to hear this clearly. The Hakimi story was never about genius. It was never about one man outsmarting his wife. What it was is a documented example of what happens when a spouse's finances are structured in a way that makes full disclosure almost impossible at the early stage of proceedings. The disclosure lag is real. The gap between what is declared and what exists is real. The system is not always broken. Sometimes the system just moves slower than the deception. Nothing in this video is legal advice. Every fact here comes from public court record, verified journalism, and documented legal proceedings. If you are facing a situation like this, please speak with a licensed attorney in your jurisdiction. Hiba Abouk left that marriage with 2 sons and a fraud lawsuit still pending. What the court ultimately found, only she knows. In the end, she said it herself. In life, there are many good moments and also bad ones. You marry for love and divorce for heartbreak. I hope she got what she was owed. Cheers.